We're going to do a roundup of all the things that were kind of shown off at Gamescom and kind of give our opinions real fast, kind of like my tasty bit with E3. So let's get to it. Dark Souls 3 had a trailer that showed gameplay.
And a boss fight.
And a boss fight.
Yeah. Which is important for that game.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Well, I mean, the game's defined by its, hard difficulty and boss fights. So, what did you think of it?
It looks like Dark Souls, except for on a newer console.
Yeah.
And
which is not a bad thing.
No, not at all. I know it was at first I was like, oh, okay, they're making another one, and then I got to actually watch it in the atmosphere and seeing the creatures. And actually, the one thing I really did appreciate seeing in that the boss they showed, which was a complaint in the second game, was not so humanoid looking. And was more like a monster.
Yeah, they definitely... The thing with every single Dark Souls game, and I'm including Demon Souls even though it was the first, is every time they make one, they change some shit, and people don't like some certain things, they go back and take things, and they change it up in each one. So even though every Dark Souls is a continuation, they all have different systems. So, like, you can't just rely on the last game's knowledge, your knowledge of the last game, and go, well, I'm going to do awesome in this one. I mean, the combat, kind of.
So mechanically, you can.
Yeah, but like, like trying to join up with people in co-op is always completely different. The way you die and have to get back to normal, whatever, is sometimes different. Yeah. And I'm also including Bloodborne because it's very much Dark Souls, only fast paced with guns. But I was actually surprised in the first place, and this is kind of old news, but I was surprised in the first place to see that they were working on Dark Souls 3. Because Bloodborne just came out at the time, around the time that they announced it, and I was like, "Wait, they're working on fucking 2 games at once?" Like, it was awesome news. At the same time, I'm like hype of Bloodborne, which I still haven't beat. Maybe I'll play that today. Was there very much there? I was like, "Oh, Bloodborne's out, blah blah blah," and then Dark Souls 3. I'm like, Bloodborne. Wait, that's fucking cool. Like Dark Souls 3, but Bloodborne. So I didn't really get a chance to really let it hit me. But then the video came out, and I watched it. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah, no, I'm super fucking pumped for it. Not really much else to say. It looks like Dark Souls, looks awesome. Better graphically. I'm fucking ready. Give it to me. Quantum Break, they showed that off a little bit more again. One of the only games for the Xbox One I'm even interested in.
It looks cool.
Remedy is a very fucking talented company that is very inventive in their gameplay mechanics. Max Payne, Alan Wake. Not a whole lot of others because they really just make projects that they want to make. This game's been taking forever to come out. The biggest thing I thought was interesting, outside of just seeing more of the game, was they've completely changed the main character and all the characters. I saw fucking Littlefinger from goddamn Game of Thrones in it. I think the fucking dude who plays Iceman or the fuck from X-Men or something. Somebody...
He's in the X-Men movies, yeah.
Plays the main character or some shit, which kind of bothers me. But it's really interesting, because that game's been taking forever to come out, and now I'm like, that makes sense, but hopefully that's for the better. I'm not so sure yet.
Well, and they may have had these grand ideas originally too, and may not have been able to realize them with what they had going, or it wasn't working or something. So they obviously made a decision to change it for a reason.
Typically, when I see changes like that, I assume something wasn't working correctly. I mean, like a fucking Titan with Blizzard. I almost said Diablo.
Project Titan.
Yeah, and then look at fucking
years of
Doom
development hell
with id. Just the game just didn't work, and I like when developers
Except
can
for
see
the new
that.
one looks sick. But
Exactly, but that wouldn't exist. Did you see the old Doom?
No.
It was like Call of Duty. It was like a bunch of fucking rugged ass soldiers in a really grayscale cityscape, and there was just all these demons from hell coming out of the sky and out of the ground and shit, and just all these it was like this team of dudes just fucking.
So they had a lapse of who they were for a moment.
Yeah, it had no identity, and literally the guy from id said that it lacked identity, and it wasn't. No, John Carmack left it a while ago.
Oh.
He works on Oculus.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. No, it's the long-haired guy from Texas who's fucking kind of buff.
Quantum Break looks cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah. One reason to put me a little closer to buying an Xbox. So.
Yeah. No, if you haven't seen anything on it, definitely check it out. Quantum Break. Really fucking cool looking. Although you are kind of playing God in that game. Halo Wars, they're making a sequel, which is kind of interesting because the first one I feel like was a missed opportunity. I guess some people really liked it, but nobody played it.
Yeah.
It was an RTS that was able to be played on a controller. It was specifically made for a controller. I played a demo and I thought, I was like, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, like, it didn't hit the RTS feel for
I'm
me.
not sure how I feel about that. I think there's an opportunity there.
About the game itself or the sequel?
The sequel.
Okay.
Or just the franchise in general.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Because RTSs on console is kind of a non-existent
Alien thing, yeah, for sure.
And there's an opportunity there, if you can get it right. So, I mean...
Every RTS that's been attempted on console has failed. I mean, like, there was Command & Conquer on PlayStation, which did horrible. And then they had End War, or whatever the fuck, Tom Clancy, which I thought was a really neat RTS because at first I was like, oh, they're innovating. But then as I think about it in retrospect, I'm just like, they were trying to compensate for not having a keyboard, so they're doing all by voice command. Because there's a shitload of voice commands in that game.
Well, and that's a hard part of translating an RTS.
But the technique, or not the technique, the technology wasn't there. It didn't work that great.
But yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
It doesn't translate on console very well.
No, so you really have to simplify it. I don't know. I'd like to see where this goes. So
I do too, but also the thing that has me, because if you would have just said they're making another Halo Wars, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But then I heard that Creative Assembly is making it, which they have made the Total War series, which people love. People say those are some of the best strategy games ever made. Some of them, outside of like Civ and
technical.
Like yeah. And they also made Alien Isolation, which I feel like did pretty well. I was bored playing it, but I really appreciated it. It was a beautiful fucking game, and it was so fucking authentic feeling. I was so bored, it sucked. I like it. I just wanted to love it. So yeah, really fucking talented company, obviously proven, and also they've shown with Alien that they can make games outside of their
zone.
Yeah, exactly, and do well. So
that was good. I'd love to see a good RTS on console.
Yeah, I'm curious, and give me a reason to get a fucking Xbox One. Crackdown 3 was shown. I've barely seen any of that, but what I did see is it literally looks like Crackdown 1 and 2 with better graphics.
And destructible everything.
Even down to the fucking animations. I was watching the guy shoot, and his feet were just like doing this, and he's just moving around and stuff, like moonwalking while shooting. I was like, oh, it's just like fucking Crackdown 1, which can be good because you're like, oh, it's like the old ones. They didn't change it too much. But also at the same time, Crackdown 2 got so much fucking hate because it was Crackdown 1 but looked worse and was the same city with more zombies.
How do you do that?
I don't fucking know, dude. It was horrible.
That's baffling.
Yeah, anyway, about Crackdown 3, you said everything's destructible. I saw a trailer where it showed that happen, but I didn't see the gameplay of that.
They emphasized that everything.
I wonder if things will respawn or if the fucking city just goes away.
It would have to respawn. I imagine it's going to be like you have this, bubble essentially around you that you can see the destruction in, and after you leave so far, like it starts rebuilding behind it. That's the only way I can.
Just like streaming technology, it just fades back in when you're not looking or something, or maybe when you reload the game or something.
I mean, otherwise, 20 hours in, the apocalypse happens because of your, essentially just an asshole killing everything.
I would be really curious to see a game though that had a city-sized city, like a huge fucking city,
permanent damage,
and like unless you're going out of your way to destroy every building, just to see the actual damage of the city towards the end of the game.
I feel like this would be like a Battlefield or a Clancy game at that point.
Yeah, it'd just be really cool. Like obviously for memory reasons, and this is me being a fucking geek here, but fucking talking about like how you do it or how you'd render it, but you'd have to get rid of rubble and shit like that after a while. Kind of like dead bodies in a game. It's gonna cloud up the memory usage. But
good news is current gen consoles have PC hardware in them, so
yeah,
it'd be
a
lot easier to do now.
But it's still be cool to like go through the city and see the fucking destruction that's happened, not only from you but from your enemies. That'd be kind of cool. But I don't think the game's gonna do that. This game,
oh no,
it looks
it's meant to be kind of
looks fun
out there. I think. So.
I know Josh, who's not here because he's an asshole. He's excited about it, so at least one person is.
Just like with movies, never want to see a bad movie come out. I don't want to see bad games come out. So
exactly.
Hopefully it's good.
I hope it's amazing, and Xbox One can start selling some consoles and have a reason for me to get one.
Absolutely.
Mad Max. was showing off some more.
That looks fun. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Looks fun,
Yeah.
especially coming off of the movie that I loved. It's not going to be as good as the movie, of course. Comparing it to you is stupid, but still, coming off of that rush of the movie, which I fucking loved the movie. Getting to interact with that world and kind of like, and I know they're not going to be connected, but like getting. Well, I don't know if it is going to be official or not. But anyway, being able to interact with that world and shit is something that I don't feel like. I mean, the closest thing we got was Rage, and Rage was fun. I liked Rage. It had some things about it that was kind of weak, but
It's funny you bring that up because I was gonna say this game feels like a technical Rage.
yeah, and a less artistically visioned Rage.
The Rage is gorgeous. Even
Well,
now, still
every
looks
piece
good.
of Rage was designed, artistically, and every time you like turn,
It shows.
and you look at something, it's supposed to be picturesque, and it did because everything
It's gorgeous.
It was pseudo linear, pseudo open, so they could get that feeling of everything you look at is just fucking super cool looking.
To go back real quick,
Yeah.
you talked about you didn't know if it was connected or not, and actually, I believe they said in the video. I'd have to go back and watch it, but that every Mad Max story, and referring to the movies as well, are supposed to be standalone entities.
Not the movies. The movies are a continuation.
Well, then the guy who made the game
Doesn't know what he's
was
talking about.
misspeaking, yeah. But he basically said that this is its own thing, because I guess there was
Makes sense.
one example they gave is there was an outcry for there to be a Furiosa DLC, so you could play as her, and he's like, this is a Mad Max game, so...
Well, and as much as I loved fucking Furiosa
Yeah.
and fucking Charlize Theron, she did amazing. She was equally as good as fucking said Ed Hardy, Tom Hardy.
What's up, Ed?
Fuck Ed Hardy in his stupid clothes. Mad Max isn't about staying in one area.
No.
Mad Max is a nomad. He is literally the vessel that is escorting us through the wasteland and showing us what's going on in the wasteland and just these different events that are happening. That's why Mad Max works so well and why they're able to continue the new movie from the old ones, because this is just him after all that shit, still wandering. Like, he runs into these situations that he gets involved with, but by the end of it, he leaves. It's kind of like James Bond. Each time there's a new villain and a new thing he's doing. It's just James Bond out in the fucking desert, and he's not
Pretty much.
hooking up with fucking sultry women. But yeah, he's literally just. I mean, he's barely a main character. He's interesting in his own right, but like, he's not like charming and fucking. He's just there, and he's taking us through the wasteland. Furiosa was essentially kind of the main prospect of fucking the new movie. But now that's over, he's left, and maybe later they can revisit that area and see how she's built up that place, or if she failed. But it's literally, we're gonna go and see what's next. So I could see the game actually doing the same thing, just another Mad Max story. Just that they have to find a place in the timeline. But
Yeah.
if they're doing their own thing too, I think that's a safer bet.
It sounds like it's
Because Mad Max is a blank slate. It's literally like just the fucking
It's an excuse to have cars.
car
Going
combat in the
against
desert
cars,
against
yeah.
fucking marauders. And I think that's awesome because in the gameplay they show harpoons and fucking. I liked that there's a guy on the back that
was neat.
yeah. I like that it has like because I believe it's being made by the same guys who made Just Cause. It's on the same engine as Just Cause 3, I believe. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And it's cool to see that they're actually going to be doing cinematic like cutscenes, not like dorky ass Rico, whatever the fuck his name is, from.
It's allowed in that game, though.
Exactly, it
Yeah.
was. But in Mad Max, and that's not to be too serious because I mean Mad Max comes from a pretty campy fucking origin.
Yeah.
But it's cool because I watched the part at the end with the chick and she's being dragged by the car and she like runs up and jumps in it and stuff. And the guy's got the knife to the guy's throat and he cuts as they drive off. And it's cool they can convey a storyline that will probably be interesting. The gameplay looks awesome, driving around, free roaming on foot.
It's essentially Twisted Metal and Rage
Yeah, and
mixed together.
and
And no complaints there.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm stoked for it. I'll definitely be picking it up.
No, it looks super fun. So definitely excited to see what the end product is with that. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Battlefront, we've seen already. Went fucking crazy. I still cannot get over that we're getting a fucking actual Star Wars
So
movie
that
at the
shit
end of
is
this year.
Star Wars.
And then we're getting a fucking Star Wars game that is a legit Star Wars game. It's not some weird fucking gimmicky Force Unleashed bullshit. It's like legit. We get to fight in fucking because Battlefront was cool. Were cool games, but I feel like they're old now. We get to see the battles we all grew up fucking watching and shit, and get to experience them in fucking Frostbite, gorgeous fucking
Grandiose
graphics.
scale.
Yeah. Really stoked. But they showed off Gamescom the dogfights, and you were bothering me for a couple days about
To watch it,
because I remember I was in my room and I'm playing a game and I could hear you like holy shit, blah blah blah. And I said, I'm like, oh, you must be watching.
No, dude, that
Star Wars
shit is awesome.
And then I'm like, it can't be that cool. And then I'm watching it. And as soon as I see all the fucking X-wings flying shit, I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, look at Star Wars.
And then it shows the fucking the Millennium Falcon fly in and it starts spinning through.
I love how they took the hero system and implemented it to the vehicles.
To the vehicles, yeah. No, that's awesome. I did not expect that. And as soon as I saw the Millennium Falcon flying, I was like, oh shit, you can control that. And then at the very end shows the fucking Slave One flying in. I'm like, oh god damn, they're fucking. These guys are gonna sell so many copies of this game.
I really, because they're really showing off the good, obviously.
Yeah.
And I would really hate for this to come out and have the fucking Battlefield 4 thing happen to it, man.
I would say I want to be wishful thinking and be like, oh no, they're DICE and they're fucking they're on top of this. They haven't been. 3 had problems, 4 had problems.
I really want this to just
Hardline did fine, but it wasn't as good of a game.
It also wasn't them.
Yeah.
So.
It was the guys who made fucking Dead Space, so I mean, it was also a bigger company. Hardline's a cool game. It was fun.
I think
it feels
more
like an
so
expansion.
than wanting this to come out and be good and a smooth launch. I almost feel like I need it to be.
Dude, no, it'll be devastating if this game is in any way disappointing, but also has a shitty launch. But if it does have a shitty launch, me and you are very understanding people when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we can kind of wait out the problems, but we will see a lot of self-entitled gamers going, "Oh, fucking bought this game for $69." $69. I don't know why it'd be $69. Fucking Australian dollars. If I should be able to play it fucking first day, blah blah. And you know what? You're right. You should, but you can't. So you got to fucking deal with it. They're a cable company. They're gonna fix it. Just fucking hang tight. Play something else for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and
it's a whole other subject.
It is.
Fucking self-entitled.
That'd be a whole episode of ranting at that point.
I need a loot chest on that. That'd be 3 hours long.
Easy. But yeah, no. I it's funny too because I remember even when E3 and they showed off the ground stuff. I didn't even I knew this game was being made and I kind of didn't care at first.
Me too. I was like, at first I was like, man, it's so interesting to me that Battlefield existed, and then a company ripped that off and made Battlefront, and it was super popular, and it was fun, but it wasn't quite Battlefield because it came from Battlefield on PC, and it's a completely different fucking game. And then that disappeared, and then we all got that little glimpse of 3 coming out, and we're like, oh shit, they almost made Battlefield or Battlefront 3. That's shitty that it's not coming out. And then all of a sudden it's like, DICE is making Battlefront. It's like, how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
They made Battlefield and Battlefront.
It's just ironic.
And I'm sure they're not even well, we made that, so now we get the rights to what we had. I'm sure they're stoked. We get the fucking Star Wars license to make Battlefield with?
It has to be exciting.
That's and they're showing it because there's so much fucking work being put in this game.
Well, then and just to wrap up, what I was saying a second ago was
sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just saying that I watched the trailer, and I was kind of dead silent and just in it. Mm-hmm. And by the time I was done, I was like, I need that.
Yep.
It's weird. I went from not caring to here, take my money.
Yeah, they showed early concept of the speeder bike, and it was just that with a gray background and moving something like that. I'm like, that's kind of neat. Star Wars, cool, whatever. But this year, I'm learning again that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I was a huge Star Wars fan before, and then I kind of fell out of it.
Got
now
betrayed.
We got that movie coming out, and I'm fucking ecstatic over that. And then that game, I was like, fuck the Clone Wars. And then I see the first fucking the trailer that showed gameplay, and I was like, holy shit, this is a legit fucking Star Wars game with all the legit fucking Star Wars shit that I love, all the sound effects. The shit looks amazing. I like first-person shooters. I fucking need this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so obviously, the dogfight thing, really cool. I liked also that it had an objective. I like that there was an escort mission happening.
It's funny you bring that up because I was talking with a coworker about it, and I said, hey, did you check out the dogfight trailer? And they're like, no, what's the point? You're just going to run and kill each other? I was like, no, actually, there's an objective, so there's a point to it. So, and then all of a sudden he was interested. So it does matter, so.
Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, dogfight's cool, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I'll fly around and shoot people, whatever. But, like, there's actually an objective going on. I'm like, cool. Like, we haven't really touched dogfight games in a long time. And,
well, except for, I guess, Space Sims are kind of doing
they're
that.
still not even, like, a big chunk of games, though. There's a couple you could really name off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just cool to see that again, and to see it done by a huge company like DICE, and then to see them not just going, hey, you can shoot each other in the fucking air, but also, like, you know, make game modes for that. That's awesome. Like, I think it'll be really fun.
For sure.
And then, just a notable mention, there was a indie game that you were watching a thing on earlier today.
Yep.
Called Eitr, EITR. I didn't see all of it, but essentially it's an isometric game, so top-down, Diablo-esque, pixelated, or pixel art.
Hand-drawn.
It's hand-drawn?
Yes.
Oh, look, pixel art. Well,
I don't necessarily mean like they drew it, but like the whole thing was crafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from what I saw, it seemed kind of like Dark Souls, which you later told me that was something they're going for.
It's one of their large inspirations for it.
But yeah, look neat. I didn't see a whole lot on it. I don't know if there's anything you want to elaborate on that.
Well, yeah, actually, because after watching it and listening to the developer talk about it, I would be very tempted to buy this day one. It's supposed to, so basically what they want to do is they want to make a Diablo-esque game that has the deep mechanics like a Dark Souls game, and they also want to add
great to me.
Instead of like having mana and stuff like that, they wanted to have a point system kind of similar to like Street Fighter. So when your equipment, like a good example was like your potion to heal with. Has 5 charges or whatever, and every time you take a drink, it takes a charge. In order to get some of those charges back, I'm not 100% sure with the potion what they said, but like with the electricity on the sword, combat slowly recharges that. As for like shield buffs, blocking will slowly recharge that. So it's not just like one thing charges everything. You have to actually actively like try to charge certain aspects.
That's kind of neat. It's like an active combat system.
It is.
You have to pay attention to things.
Random loot. Because they want it to be like Diablo.
My bread and butter.
It is not procedurally generated because they said, though they like procedurally generated worlds, you don't get the same immersive experience you do with a set-out map. So the maps aren't going to change. But
just like a Dark Souls.
So they can hide stuff in the maps and give you atmosphere. Boss fights seem to have like really intricate mechanics. Combat is very mechanical, like Dark Souls. So like... when to swing, when to block, when to dodge type stuff. It seems almost too complicated for what it is.
What it should be, yeah. It sounds like a 3D game for sure.
I mean, I don't know. If you get a chance, check out a video on it. It looks awesome.
Eitr, EITR. No, that sounds really fucking cool. Like I said, visually I thought it looked cool, which is already a plus. That all sounds really neat, and the actual like set maps and not procedurally generated, I think is something that that isn't, obviously it's not obsolete, it's not bad, it's just a different type of thing. I think Dark Souls is way better off with the same map you play over and over again, because it's almost like this struggle and this
they would not be able to give you the feeling and the atmosphere in Dark Souls if it was procedural. No way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because you're working always, and you might die to like the next boss essentially, and you start learning, where people are at, like that. That's kind of the fun of it. It's like you're learning the map, and eventually you feel like you've conquered it, and you know where everything's at, and like you know how to fight everything there, and then you get to the boss, and that might be a setback, so you might kick your ass, or you might beat him, and then you get to the next area, and there's almost this anxiety I get when I'm in a new area, because I'm like, fuck, I just went through all that.
I just learned something.
And now I gotta fucking learn this.
Yeah.
But then if you get set back all the way back, you you are just kind of progressing through, and also you feel powerful because you're like, I remember when this was a challenge, and now I'm just like, this guy's gonna jump out from here, and they randomize guys every once in a while, especially in Bloodborne. But
Yeah.
I think that
a much bigger company at this point, though.
definitely.
Too, so
They're fucking the only Japanese developer I feel like that's fucking making anything that people are freaking out about.
Yeah.
Never mind. Aside from Hideo Kojima, but he's not doing it anymore. With that whole thing, I'm not gonna get into that. But yeah, no, really, really good inspiration. I definitely saw a lot. As soon as I saw it, and it's 2D. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, it was like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But I am really stoked about the Diablo-esque feature of it because I love fucking loot. I love tasty loot. We're fucking called tasty loot here.
Well, and it's kind of neat too because they just showed off. That was just a dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
There's an overworld too. So like before that, he said was the tutorial level when it's in a forest. So and then that you went into the dungeon. They wanted to they skipped that part because they didn't want to show off the slow parts. They wanted to show off like the gameplay itself. So you actually get a nice meaty feel of the game by watching that video because that's what they wanted to show off more so than like story and like how the tutorials.
Giving you what's going to pull you in, that kind of thing, definitely.
Oh, another interesting one actually about that game. No music for most of the game.
Really?
They want ambience to be the background.
Ambience or ambient music? Probably ambient.
Boss fights, though,
Uh,
will have music.
well, see, that's like Dark Souls, though.
Yeah.
Dark Souls, that's literally Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls, half the time there's no music unless you're in town.
Just like sound effects and stuff, yeah.
But when you fight a boss, it's like...
And they're doing that, so...
Which is effective, because half the time you're just kind of creeping in quiet, and then you fight a dude, and then once you hit the boss, you're already like, fuck, I know Dark Souls, and the boss can be really fucking intense. Then the music just amps up, and my heart's just fucking... I'm just fucking, like, dodging and shit, just this crazy-ass orchestral shit that's, like, macabre in tone. I don't know. But,
They pretty much had me at the random loot, though.
Oh, dude, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if Dark Souls could somehow implement random loot into it, it'd be awesome, but it would take away from it. So I feel like this has an opportunity to kind of have its own unique feeling.
Yeah.
Because if Dark Souls had random loot, it would
be the
have...
same game.
Exactly. Because, then with random loot, some people are going to have easier ways through areas than others, whereas the system now, you either find those secret weapons or you don't. They were there for you if you
Very
didn't get them.
handcrafted game.
Definitely.
So.
Every inch of it is just kind of like a planned progress.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of fucking items in the game, and I like that they're secret. It almost brings me back to like older style games like that.
We're seeing a lot of that anyways now.
Definitely, and Dark Souls is Demon Souls is the reason for that. But yeah.
If you get a chance, check it out. It looks awesome.